David, stay with us because we want to bring in the rest of our Fox panel. Joining us now, we have Peter Schiff, author of Crash Proof, now the #1 best-selling investment book on Amazon.com. Wow. You owe us for that, Peter. We mention the book all the time.
We get a percentage.
We also have Pat Powell, Victoria Barrett, and Gary Kaltbaum with us. Peter, we know that you have supported Ron Paul as a candidate. When you hear from people like David say, you know what, Wall Street just wants a winner, what do you think of that theory?
No, that's not a good theory. Wall Street gets just about everything wrong, and I guess politics is no exception. I mean, the public wants change, and the reason they want change is because we're in a severe recession. We got runaway inflation. The only person that can deliver meaningful change is Ron Paul. He's the only one that understands the mess that we're in. He knows how we got into this mess, and he understands what's going to be necessary so that we can dig our way out of this hole.
Right. But we don't want to turn this into an advertisement for Ron Paul, by the way. But I do want to keep it to the fact of how it is, Victoria Barrett, that we are concerned that there might be a quid pro quo. That is, that the money that people donate, they hope to get something back for it, particularly if it's in the millions of dollars. Is there some kind of quid pro quo?
Well, look, people give money because they want to have influence. They also want to pick a winner. You don't want to give your money to who ends up being the loser. And if you look at the numbers on campaign funding, they have grown and kept pace with government spending, entitlement spending, subsidy spending. There's a very direct relationship, and the reason is if you're giving big checks, you're trying to get something in return.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that the case, though, Pat? I mean, you look at what Wall Street wants, and it was just about a year ago, I think, that John Mack of J.P. Morgan or Morgan Stanley, rather, had come out and said, you know what, we're going to go with Hillary for now. At least he said that he would support her. Right. Well, do you think he really felt that, or is he just going with the candidate he thought would win?
You know, there's a lot of cynicism on this panel today, but I think if you actually take the time and start reading the individual's economic plans, you start seeing a tremendous difference between the candidates. And I really like Huckabee as an individual, but when I read his economic policy, he's absolutely frightening. What he calls as a fair tax is basically the elimination of the IRS and putting in a consumption tax, which nobody knows whether this will work. When I read Obama's website and he starts talking about change, I start wondering, why would we want to change the largest and most successful economy in the history of the world?
Well,
So I think when you start looking at this, I think there are some practical realities that start setting in.
Gary Kaltbaum, though, what kind of influence can those big donors have on the policy that comes out of these folks?
Well, as much as they can. Look, I don't think it's a badge of honor to be supported by any of these buzzard heads on Wall Street right now.
Buzzard heads.
After everything we've seen in the last year, you know what I'm talking about. But look, Wall Street is about, they're fair weather fans. Whoever's winning, they're going to go after, and whoever wins, they're going to be backing also. Why? Because they're looking for things. They're looking for better legislation to benefit Wall Street. That's just the way the business goes, and that's to be expected, and it's exactly what's going to happen going forward.
David, do the candidates care? Do they notice when they're quite aware of that kind of thing, where, oh, well, so and so was donating to John, John Thane was giving to McCain for quite some time, and then he quickly, if he were to switch, do they care where the money comes from?
As long as none of these guys are on trial for anything, they'll take their checks.
All right.
Okay, gang. Well, we'll have a lot more to